So we had a client come into the hospital today, and he, when asked if he was brushing his dog's teeth regularly, his dog's a little rambunctious. He looked at the doctor and said, "I'd rather have a jaguar inside of a phone booth."
What? What's up, dude? What's going on in your life?
You know,
I have lots of questions.
First of all,
Many of which, why specifically a jaguar?
I don't. And here's the thing: he was an older gentleman who you took one look at him and go, "You're a military dude."
well, that makes me think that he spent a lot of time in Mexico and probably communed with the jaguar gods. So he...
And they were like, "Thou shalt not work in thine shaft of thine holy beast inside booth of phone."
Give me
now, was
a
this man
handy
Japanese?
inside that phone booth.
No, he was not. He was American.
He had a real wild time in Tijuana.
Yeah, as we all tend to do sometimes.
I was like, that's an ism right there that I'm going to steal. And I'm sure, yeah. Anyway, hi, I'm Connor McGraw. Welcome back to Comics on TV. It's still alive because the Flash is fucking good. It's still good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's surprising what a showrunner can do.
Actually, I think this might be my favorite season since the second one. I mean, that's a pretty low bar to set. But
Right.
I would actually say, like, I think this is my favorite Wells. Possibly.
I fucking love Sherlock.
Sherlock is the fucking man.
Yeah, he's definitely like top 2 for me. If Harry's like number 1, then this guy's right up there. Yeah.
I like how we can say that because at this point we've never truly lost Wells² because he just fucking kicks around and just refuses to die.
My favorite thing about Sherlock, though, is that he has 5 ex-wives and they're all the same chick.
I love that so much.
Okay, did anyone else introduce yourselves? And I wanna go in a little bit of trivia that I picked up on this that really entertained me. So who else is here?
Arlen Haro signing on.
Hunter Davenport, a.k.a. AK-47 The God, a.k.a. Constant Professional, a.k.a. Ebony Falcon.
What is this, a fucking rap sheet?
Yeah, dude.
Yes. Hip hop. I'm Erik Fedorchak, and I was really hoping that someone could take the book Moby Dick and reduce it to the easiest ways for me to read it, because I really don't feel like respecting the author's vision of what's going on.
I think I'm missing something here.
Oh, I'm talking about assholes who think Sekiro should have a easy mode.
Oh,
really? Okay. And here's the thing. Here's what's funny about that. I and Chris Antista from Laser Time apparently had the same thought whilst embarrassing ourselves while playing Sekiro, which is we both got so angry that for a split second, a single moment of doubt, we were looking up Microsoft's return policy. Because after I fought the Chained Ogre and almost beat him, and I got him down to a shred of life, and then he fucking drop kicked me out of nowhere, and then barrel tossed me over a fucking cliff. Mm-hmm. I was about ready to call it quits.
Nope. No, it's worth keep going. And I don't mean to derail, but I'd seen a thread on a gaming group I'm in, and somebody was bitching about how that there should be an easy mode in it because I'm going to say the same thing I've been saying about fucking Dark Souls and Bloodborne for years. If you want an easy mode, go play a different game. Exactly.
That's it. Arlen doesn't even fucking play those games, and he understands it.
Well, I don't care. But I still agree.
Not everything is for everyone, and I'm sorry if you think a game looks cool and it's too hard for you. Like, I hate to say it, but get good.
YouTube and watch videos.
I do.
I mean, Lou stole it from my mouth. Watch live streams of other people playing it.
And like I was listening to Jim Sterling talk about it today. He says there is, of course, the endless amount of people who say get good, and Jim Sterling said, "Here's the thing: if you are not having fun whilst trying to get good, it's not for you, and you can walk away, and no one will fucking no one should give you shit for it. That's it."
I have heard the
If
argument.
somebody
that,
gives
like,
you shit, now that's different. Then
Yeah.
fuck them.
They're a fuck ass, and you shouldn't consider their opinion with any validity.
Hunter, what were you gonna say?
I've heard the argument that like easier difficulty modes are like essential for like people with disabilities. So like I can understand that, but like these games aren't really the way they're designed. It's like it's not conducive to that sort of kind of that like mentality.
No,
Well,
if you were predisposed to have a short fuse, a poor attention span, or slower than what would be considered normal reflexes, you're probably not gonna have a good time playing this, and that's
No.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
No, you are not.
I've blasted through every single Souls game I played. Demon Souls, Dark Souls 1 through 3. I beat Bloodborne by myself. And I got into this game, I was like, I feel like a fucking greenhorn.
Yeah.
Because this
But
game
it's-
has humbled the shit out of me.
But and that's the thing. Like I'm stuck on what I guess is supposed to be like the second boss, and it frustrates the hell out of me. But I'm still enjoying it because every time I get a little bit further with this boss, I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. I should have been doing this the whole time.
Yes, and that's what I've been saying for years, is that
Yeah.
From Software's interior unspoken philosophy is to basically reach through the screen and kind of take two fingers and smack you across the nose and say like, hey, don't fucking do that again.
Yep.
And you're like, okay. And then you keep doing it. It's just going, hey, I told you not to fucking do that.
Yeah. But that, and to go down to a base mechanics of, let's say, any of the Dark Souls games or even Bloodborne, like, you would have to fundamentally ruin somebody's phone's ringing.
Line, sorry, hold on.
You would have to fundamentally ruin the game itself if you were able to put an easy mode in, because having to be able to switch the difficulties would screw all of the gameplay design up. There's no way you could have it switch from easy to hard in any way that would make sense.
All the nuance between bosses would just like fade away, and you'd just be like, this boss is now completely indiscriminate and nondescript from the boss that came before it. Nothing special about it. There's no challenge to it. Here you go, slap it until it dies.
Yep.
But anyway, who else is here?
Oh, yeah. I'm Lou Gonzalez, and if you are really frustrated, you can go pick up Farming Simulator 19. They still make those games, and they're still apparently pretty popular.
The ASMR of video games. Okay.
Those games are actually kind of fun.
Hey, I played
get the
Viva
appeal.
Pinata with my friend for one day for like a good 12 hours.
Oh God, that game was great.
Okay, you know what? I would say like if you I don't know, go play Minecraft.
There is kind of an appealing nature of simulators where like I'm never gonna do this in my life, but I kind of want to see it.
What the fuck?
Whoa.
That
a coyote?
Ripley, our Wolf Malamute and Otis are playing.
That was such a fucking husky noise.
Yeah, she's very loud.
Farm Simulator.
Yeah.
Anyway, is that everybody? Is that everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This edition of Video Game Minute brought to you by.
Yeah. It was. I mean, at this point, like, I think there's more of us playing than there are not. Am I mistaken?
I am not playing the game, but I will play the game. I have to
Okay.
finish.
Yeah.
I'm like OCD with
Which
games.
is funny because like the Souls games the Souls series is like one of the things I've been trying to like throw in Arlen's direction. But this is the first one I'm like, you should look away from this one. It's fine. Don't.
Okay, here's the
Don't
thing.
bother.
Everything you were saying earlier, I'm not gonna play Souls because those things all apply to me. Low attention span.
No, because
angry easily.
No, because Sekiro is those to the nth degree. Like Dark Souls is frustrating, but then you'll step into literal golden shit in Dark Souls and go, "Oh, I'm stupid." Like you'll click and you go, "I've been doing this. Like I've been trying to put a square peg into a round hole for 10 minutes."
That and
Right.
with Souls games, you can really cheese it if you just farm stuff
And
for a
that's
while.
the thing. Souls will eventually, after you try to throw some stuff against the wall and see what will stick, you'll find your personal groove and you go, "Oh, I'm never doing this differently ever again."
That's how I got
And
through
that's-
Bloodborne. Was just farming.
Yeah.
And like me and George is a mage player, so George sits back and just puts all of his skill points into projectile spells.
Oh, I
And when
seen it,
people
yeah.
invade my game, Hunter's seen it firsthand. When people invade my game, I take my character, I sit him on the floor, and then George hides behind something, and this poor fucker pulls around a corner and just gets hit with a magic missile that does so much damage the guy just fucking quits. And me, I get a giant chunk of metal that you hold with 2 hands, and I smack things until they stop moving. That's how I play.
I can't wait till later tonight when Erik is asleep and Ripley is playing this game because of your advice.
She'll be passed out farting.
Well, I needed to address that she seems to be reacting to what Connor said.
Yeah, I know.
She's part of the podcast. You have to list her as.
Yeah, more animals becoming part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Otis hasn't been on in a while.
Monster is currently on probation from the room because every time he comes in here, he brings his fucking mom with him. Stormy comes in here too because Stormy likes to get away from the younger cats. So does Monster. Problem is, Monster's on a cycle of steroids again for his asthma, and when Monster's on steroids, he likes to go up to his mom and bite her in the neck and climb on top of her, and I have to yell at him.
He has roid rage?
Oh, no.
It's not like roid rage. It's like roid horniness. And here's the thing. Monster's been extra neutered. Monster got a PU surgery. He had to get like all that stuff reworked because he was getting blocked so many times. So, like, Monster couldn't do that if he fucking wanted to.
Well, it sounds like he does.
This will not do.
Yeah.
He's getting
Grey Worm.
He's getting real swole in a lot of places.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I don't care if you're my mom or not, but nature calls.
Ugh.
And like Stormy, poor Stormy, sitting there.
God damn it!
Oh my god! I don't know if I've ever heard a Malamute laugh before, but that was it.
That's if you guys could see this. That's the thing. Like Otis is like 135, maybe 140 pounds, and he just lays there and lets her chew on him. And she's like maybe 40 pounds at this point.
This sounds like when I was little, my two, because I had Shadow and Dusty, and Dusty was Shadow's father. Shadow was Dusty's daughter, and fucking Shadow was way too young for Dusty to be, and Dusty was way too old to be a father at that point. I don't know how he managed to pull it off, but like she'd just run around the yard and just fucking jump over him, and he'd just sit there and go.
He doesn't. That's the thing. Otis won't even push her out of the way when she tries to start eating his food. He does like the 80s thing where he just like looks at the camera if there was one. He's like, whoa.
That's funny because like the current situation with Homie here with the pit bulls is like he thinks he's one of them, but when he comes to the door to start barking at shit, he's so fucking low to the ground that all that's happening is while he's trying to get a piece of the action, he's getting thwapped in the face by everyone's tail. They're pit bull tails, and they're regular tails, so it's just like
Yeah, it's very thick. Yeah.
Yeah. And then earlier, I'm sitting there, I'm getting, and like when I go get ice for like a cup of water, Ruby and Havoc will run up because they think ice cubes are treats, whatever, they're dumb dogs. And I'm watching their tails, and Ruby is standing behind Havoc as Havoc's tail is going just like clockwork, smacking her in the face, and she doesn't even break her expression. She's just staring at me like, can I have ice? Bam, 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 bam.
Excuse me, sir.
Anyway, this has been a new podcast about pets.
Yeah.
This is a pet talk.
Newest show. Oh, now we got video.
Oh, shit. Wow, that is a little dog and a very big dog.
It's like Gorilla Grodd versus King Shark.
This is a great fit for our
They're the right color palette.
Yeah,
they are.
King Grodd versus Gorilla Shark is my favorite Flash episode. I kind of want it. I need a Gorilla Shark.
Yeah. It's getting real.
That is my favorite sci-fi movie.
Gorilla Shark?
Yeah, really.
Like watching WrestleMania 3.
I mean,
Connor gets that reference.
I honestly, it's close, but there's far more plunder involved, so it's more like I would say WrestleMania 18 between Austin and The Rock, where it's just like, I'm going to grab this thing, and I'm going to hit you with it until you stop moving.
Yeah, because WrestleMania 3 is Andre Hulk, right?
Yeah, and then WrestleMania 18 is Steve Austin The Rock when Steve Austin turned heel, and the ending of that match is Austin hits The Rock with a chair like 37 times. And then just pins him. Like
This actually that match sounds great.
Yeah. That's one of the best matches of all time because it starts off as like, look at these two good guys going at it, and then by the time Vince McMahon rolls out, you're like, what's happening here? And then Austin's like, blood rage.
Is that like around when he started doing the what?
That was like a year later, and
okay.
I heard that was conceived because he was talking to Christian on the phone and just kept going, what?
What?
And I guess like just back then, people would go like, "I bet you I could get that over with the crowd. I bet you fucking can't," and that's how things got over.
Because he was Stone Cold, and anything he did was gold.
And I guess The Rock always oversold the Stone Cold Stunner because I guess he said every time he did one better than the one before it, Austin bought him a beer. That's like my favorite wrestling story ever, and that's why like progressively over the course of the years, like The Rock started just becoming like human elastic, and he gets done like fly.
Did he like fly out of the ring at one of them?
He's basically almost fallen. Like he does that roll back, and his feet fly up, and they have touched the top rope. Like he's basically almost vertical, but he's prone.
Yeah, I feel like he's done like a tumble backwards, where he literally did like flipped all the way back around.
And one of the best ones is when he picked up a video camera and was like, "Oh, The Rock, blah blah blah," and then you get a first person perspective of The Rock getting stunned. It's one of the greatest moments in wrestling history.
The Rock invented a GoPro.
Yes, he did. But anyway, so we're going to talk about Flash episodes. I don't know their numbers, but I know their names. So as I mentioned before, we one of those episodes is King Shark versus Gorilla Grodd, or Gorilla Shark versus King Grodd. Gold member, and then Beck's Time Bomb.
Gold member.
Three episodes I watched. We can start with Gold Faced. I said, but it's Gold Faced, right? Not Gold Face.
It's Gold Faced. The episode is Gold Faced, but I think the guy's name is Gold Face.
The guy's name is Gold Face. And this bucked a trend for me as regards to episodes that don't have Barry using his powers. In that usually those episodes are garbage. And this was easily one of the most entertaining episodes I've seen the show produce because they were so I don't know who, like someone left the room and goes like, I'm going to take a short break. Nobody get any Rob Zombie, okay? I just want that to make that clear. Nobody used Rob Zombie. The editor's like, nah.
Oh, so they pulled a PlayStation 2 1990s, late 1990s game.
A fucking moment where, because I'm not sure if did you watch this one?
No, I didn't see this one.
Okay, so Barry and Ralph have to go infiltrate like the new like it's not the new meta Criminal Underground, but it's a Criminal Underground. And like Ralph is basically like, I will do all the talking, stand there and be a statue because you can't help but be a cop. So they have to basically go infiltrate this thing. And they get wrapped up with a bunch of new metas or new villains. One of them's a meta. And like, if this was Amunet Black the entire time, I would have been a lot happier with that character.
Oh yeah, this guy is awesome because you also don't know it's him until the
fucking rad.
end.
Yeah, like he has a whip made of gold.
Well, he takes off his chain, and then
it turns into a whip made of gold. And I guess like he has like basically a layer of gold beneath his skin.
He's Wolverine, but instead of adamantium, it's gold.
Yes.
The softest metal. Good.
So
he can.
Oh no, that comes up. But no, he doesn't because Barry's like he's alive.
Yeah. Okay. He got
It's just not what happened because spoilers. The end of this episode, Barry makes him whip electrical conduit, and then the current flies into this dude's body, and all the gold melts and pours out of his eye sockets, mouth, and nose. I'm like, he's fucking dead.
I was wondering because they were showing they showed that briefly in the prior episode recap.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking nuts.
Wow.
And he's not Barry; he's the chemist.
That's right. Yeah, he's the chemist.
Which I think is actually one of my favorite parts of this episode. So, like,
because it's like Barry's about to get caught, and like it's that's it because Barry can't fucking do this under pressure. But I guess Elseworlds taught him a thing or two, and he just comes up with this fucking criminal alias like on the fly. He's like, "You ever heard the explosion that happened 2 weeks ago?" Blah 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 blah. He's like, "Yeah, you wouldn't because I scrubbed every piece of evidence that I was even there. No one knows I was there, not even CCPD." And then does this whole ridiculous role play of how he's the chemist. And the guys are like, "Oh man, you're legit as hell. All right, then I'll leave you alone."
Yeah, everybody shit their pants over it. They're like, "Oh shit!" And Ralph is just looking at him like, "Ooh."
Yeah, because Ralph was like, "Who the fuck are you?"
Oh, because the big conundrum of this episode is that Barry's debating whether or not he should just kill the shit out of Cicada.
Yeah.
Like if that is the only way to get through this.
Yeah, and he's kind of like, well, maybe sometimes the Flash has to get his hands dirty, and Ralph's like, maybe. But basically, like they get locked in this underworld, like market, basically. But they have two. They each get a bracelet that's basically like they get put on. And they're like, no, they're power dampeners in case you're metas. And they're like, oh shit. Power dampeners and they're explosive devices. So if they are suspected to be metas, they'll just blow their hands up.
This is all well and good, but I have to ask, you mentioned White Zombie. Does that mean that they played the song during this episode?
I will get to that because
okay.
Later in the episode, they get going to rob a laboratory that's sending something to a hospital that would be kind of, I can't remember what the object is, but it would help a lot of people in the right hands. And Barry's like, I do not want to go rob a fucking hospital. And so Ralph basically kind of locks him in the car. They come and he's like, you're right. The Flash should not have to rob a hospital. I'm not going to let you get your hands dirty like this. But then
Barry, maybe your wife doesn't want to be married to a fucking speedster. Did you ever think about somebody other than fucking self?
So Ralph kind of locks Barry in, but then they eventually kind of have their backs against the wall. But like all the criminals have these like Star Trek pew-pew lasers that they use against metas. They come with a stun and a kill setting. Hang on. So Barry and Ralph go, all right, well, we can't use our powers. And they pick up these lasers and go, well, they have a stun setting. Dragula starts playing in the background.
Yes.
It turns into it turns into House of the Dead. Yeah, it turns into like an arcade game
They are back to back going up a staircase, just shooting people off railings, like spinning around. Just it's dead. I am the one.
Oh, and they're just clipping the whole time.
Lost my fucking mind while watching this. I was like, this is easily the most entertaining moment this show has produced for me personally because this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, I thought of Connor immediately, and you. It's like.
Warner Brothers has a very extensive catalog of music they can pull from, and they have to pull the one song that was in every goddamn video game from 1998 until like 2003.
Well, the scene feels like that, though. It feels like the opening to a lot of video games. Like,
I feel like that's like the only Rob Zombie song anyone remembers. So like,
yeah, well, okay,
there's a couple more.
People remember Super Beast, Meet the Creeper, and Dragula. Those are the big three.
I think never going to stop me.
Oh, really? I don't think Never Gonna Stop Me.
Dragula was in the Matrix, so like it's immortal at this point.
Meet the Creeper and Super Beast were both in Twisted Metal. Those are the big two songs that were in. And their music videos are fucking hysterical because it's it's just Rob Zombie from a green screen and Sherry Moon Zombie dancing, and he just has big, like, prosthetic claws he's just clamping at the screen with. I'm like, this isn't a video. This is just what happens when someone takes acid. That's it.
But neither of those songs mention burning through the witches and dragging through the ditches, so I don't care about them. I only want to hear about Dragula.
Hey, yeah, I'm the one that you wanted. Hey, yeah, I'm the Super Beast.
Nope. Doesn't ring any bells.
Right.
I guess that was way more into Rob Zombie.
Or Meet the Creeper, Dig Him Deeper.
Nope.
Do you remember when he made an album what is it called? Like Music to Strip To? Yeah, he made an album just to be played at strip clubs.
That sounds right. A friend of mine, as Rob Zombie got later in his career, when he stopped making what I would call spooky metal, because like there's like 3 Rob Zombie albums you can just play at Halloween and people are like, is this a Halloween album? Of course it is. And then like as soon as he did Half a Thousand Corpses, he's like, no more spooky shit. I'm just gonna make stripper rock. And it's just every one of those songs off those few albums is just bam, 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 right. I'm like, I feel like I should be in a bar in the middle of like, I don't know, like off Route 66 where there's like 6 dudes in here who may not live around here, but all of them are fat, drunk, and sweaty. And there's a girl who's been working the fucking stripper pole for 30 years, and the jukebox is busted, and there's a cobweb over
in Bar in the
I was gonna say, are you talking about From Dusk Till Dawn?
Yes, or like Desperado, like one of those fucking bars.
See, I would give iTunes my precious 99 cents if Rob Zombie would cover Face Down, Ass Up.
But yeah, this episode is it's kind of disconnected from everything because there's very little cicada.
It's more the moral conundrum that
more the moral
conundrum. Cicada stuff comes from Iris, actually, and
which
it's really good.
It's shockingly good because Iris shows up there to basically like Iris is like, I'm a journalist. My superpower is sleuthing. Go figure. So she kind of nuts up and fucking goes to Cicada's house. And then has like a sit down with him in the guise of like saying like, oh, there's some lead poisoning in the area. I kind of want to figure out what's happening, blah, blah, blah. But like the longer that goes, the more tense it gets. And then she goes to leave and she picks up a bag and he's like, you didn't have that bag when you walked in here. And then they have a fucking showdown and Iris actually, she stabs him with like a pencil?
She does? No, she stabs him with like a kitchen knife or something.
Yeah.
But this is also the episode that's the Iris thing that bothered me. I'm like, all right, you're only friends with what, like 17 superheroes? Like, you can't get like anybody to just like hang out outside in case some shit goes down.
Yeah, I think we're nearing 30 at this point between all the legends, all of Team Arrow, all of Team Flash, Superman, Supergirl, fucking Alex. Like
she only knows like 5 people that have super speed and like a teleporter. So
a man who is mostly impervious to damage, but he was indisposed.
I'm just envisioning her interview with Cicada went a lot like the R. Kelly interview went.
His client is doing that thing we said he's been doing pretty well. It's that he's been very kind of like he's this very quiet storm. He just kind of he's doing that really kind of gruff old dad voice.
He's doing like Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, except that smoked and drank every day.
Well, except he's also not pausing every time he has to think about the word Vanessa. So I didn't see you with that bag when you walked in here.
Oh, let me tell you about my father.
Mr. Meriden. Anyone has seen my knife?
Where's my dagger? It's like he has to like conjure the words from his belly, and they have to come out like burp.
But it's so good. It's so menacing.
I always thought it was like slight brain damage, honestly.
I feel like if someone talked to you like that in real life, you would just slowly back away. For forever.
But the big thing with this episode is like Barry and Ralph initially go to this like this underworld marketplace to like find like a device that will help them like I think completely like nullify Cicada's powers, which would eventually like, let Barry get the killing blow, which I think is the big conversation they keep having. But obviously at the end of it, like they work together and they find what we're being told is a non-lethal solution to Golden Face. Guys, kill that guy.
Just like
very fucking dead.
Like I said, the 3 seconds I saw on like the prior episode recap before I watched the King Gorilla versus T Shark, like that dude was dead. Like, there's no way you can show me 3 seconds of
he's really fucking dead
of liquid, which I now know is liquid gold melting out of his face, and he's not dead.
Out of his eyes, like
Yeah, and this is was it this episode? Was it the King Shark episode that had Wells or Sherlock coming meeting the council of his exes?
I don't. Yeah, I think it was this one.
It might be.
Yeah, I don't remember that happening in the King Shark episode.
Probably one of the most fantastic Wells developments is that Eobard basically tells Nora, he's like, having lived in a Wells for so long, I know how they think, generally speaking. I know how to derail one, even if he's from a different universe. Yeah. So he basically, like, Eobard kind of guides her along to say, you can make simple changes to the timeline that won't affect. You can arrange a meeting between two people who are inconsequential to how the world spins. So she basically kind of has Sherlock run into the Earth Prime version of his ex-wife, but then you eventually find out that he has married and divorced the same woman on 5 planets.
Oh God!
Yeah. Well, I think he married one of them twice.
Yes, after he said 7 marriages, he says, he's like, I've been married 7 times, but there's 5 wives.
And I can't remember. All I know the actress from is Father of the Bride.
Yes, and her name on Earth 1, which I thought was a cute little play off his name being Sherlock, her last name was Adler.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, I fucking see you.
I do actually like that they played that he like did his thing, and she's like, "Oh my god, you're a stalker!"
Oh my god, stalker! Throws coffee in his face and runs away. But then
that was really smart.
Nora is basically there to distract him from kind of trying to crack her journal. So she's like, I thought I'd coach you in your love life, so I contacted all of your exes on different Earths. He's like, you did what?
Yeah, and they basically
and goes, I know you sent Superman to bring your alimony money over to that Earth.
Yeah, and then they are like, oh, if you don't pay up, we're gonna call what's his name, Danny Trejo.
Yeah, we're gonna call.
And I can't remember. We actually get to see a couple different Earths because one of them is a cowboy, like a cowgirl. So there's a cowgirl planet.
One of them's a cowgirl. One of them looks like Uma Thurman from Pulp Fiction. One
of them is like kind of steampunky, I think.
Yeah, and the other one is like she's got this kind of like red and black dress on. I'm not really sure, but like all of them have their own distinct design, just like the other Wellses did with the Council of Wells. This episode was fantastic, start to finish, and it was minimal Eobard stuff. It was mostly Ralph and Barry, and it was fucking awesome. And usually the stuff where it's just like Barry's. He gave up his powers because of Zoom, or he's stuck in the Speed Force or something. And those are the most boring fucking episodes. This wasn't. This is fantastic. And then Rob Zombie played, and
it was definitely a great palate cleanser.
And then Tony Hawk ollied over a moving helicopter. And
Ralph made a ton of jokes.
Erik stole your tape.
Exactly.
Ralph made like a Matrix joke, and then they ended the thing with like, man, all those hours of playing Red Dead paid off.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was not my favorite, but still, it was...
the following episode was just as good for all different reasons, because this was Grodd, and like I don't know, was there just a meeting where someone was like, let's just do cool shit for a couple of episodes. Let's just have two fucking giant animals. Just have fucking cups for 10 minutes.
Yes.
So are we not trying to talk about the time skip episode, the reset thing?
Okay, that's not an episode I saw because I had to skip around the episode.
Which one is that?
Is that
NXS? Okay, well,
that's the next one. That's the one after Goldface.
Yeah, because that one is really good.
That one's really good.
Mm-hmm. I know the plot of this one. This is the one where Nora's basically stuck in like the same 15-minute time loop because someone keeps getting killed. So she does this like I don't know, hundreds of times. Yeah,
it's the direct result of Iris doing what she did in the previous episode.
Yes. It's their way of doing a Groundhog Day episode in a universe where that's kind of pointless because they have time travel. So they can just like.
Oh no! It more reminded me. It reminded me of Heaven Sent from Doctor Who.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but it's the same. It's the idea. Time day keeps on resetting and all that. Like, yeah.
But it does introduce like a ton of problems with like the time travel they've set up because every time she goes back, one she could only go back so far for some reason, and then there are no time remnants, which this basically would. She keeps going back to the same time, so there would be like a million time remnants of her.
You're assuming that any of us or the people who write this show know how time remnants work, and nobody in both parties does. So it doesn't matter or not.
Well, and the other thing is, after this episode, the fact that they don't be like, "Oh, why can't we just time travel in this episode?" After they did it, because she does it.
Like, it's anything with time travel, though. It's like you run the risk of like, okay, she's just like, oh, excuse me. Say she did this like 13 times. Like, congratulations, we now have 13 divergent timelines.
She did it. She does it 52 times.
Yeah, of course she did. Thank you.
Yeah, 52. Everybody's favorite number.
There's an episode of Doctor Who called Heaven Sent where the Doctor is basically trapped in this fortress, and he's basically being stalked by this. It's just Peter Capaldi and this creature effect. That's it. For 40 whole fucking minutes, it's mesmerizing. And basically, like, the Doctor is trapped in this castle, and he's only able to get away from this thing if he confesses a sin. The twist is that he keeps getting killed by this thing, and then basically disintegrates and reconstitutes back at the start of the episode every single time and only remembers the events of this basically as he's about to die. And it's really the end of the episode. He's been doing this for like 4 million years.
It's not even that he remembers. It's because he's the doctor. He just figures it out. Like he
figures it out, yeah. But there's weird tells. Like the first time he's going through this, he jumps out a window and like lands in some water, and there's just skulls everywhere, and you don't know who they're from. And he goes inside, his clothes are wet, and he finds a perfectly matching set of his clothes drying by a fire, so he just changes clothes, and you don't think twice about it. Later on, yeah, he put those clothes there. Yeah, his fucking clothes.
And all the skulls are his?
All the skulls are his, yeah, and he has to get out by punching through what's basically a wall of diamond.
Yes.
And he basically chips away at this thing over the course of what he says is like millions of years because he's stuck in this paradoxical loop. And while he's doing this, it's amazing. He's screaming this like nursery rhyme.
Yeah,
how fly by a mountain once a year and chip away at a block of diamond. And he says basically after so long, this crow chipped away an entire section of this mountain. Or like once a day for like 10 years, this one crow came by and took one peck at a mountain. Or something along those lines.
It sounds like Superboy in Final Crisis.
No.
Okay, Eric, you just ruined it.
To get back to the episode, though, I do like they did like another awesome callback, which is he did the coffee cup thing to Nora, which was like a great callback to the Jake Erik doing it for him, and he explains it exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And she's just like, you see the look on her face, is like, oh, I have really fucked up time.
I definitely like favorite little moments between Barry and Jay because, like, the little speedster effects they do are really interesting to me. Like him just like fucking, I'm gonna take this coffee cup and it's broken.
Yeah.
But I didn't see this one, but I heard all about it because I was skipping around just kind of hit some major points along the way.
Yeah, you get to see every character die, and especially Iris a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, that's cool.
Oh, I should have watched this episode
many times.
Yeah. Is this where we see the return of Joe?
I think we do, yes.
Because I think he's in this. It's either this one or the next one that he pops back up.
No, is it walking Joe or is it sitting Joe?
No, it's like standing and not moving a lot, Joe.
Okay. Okay.
This fucking wheelchair from season 1. He's like, "Hi guys."
No, I think it is the next one where he actually comes back.
Yeah, because I think it's the seal. He doesn't get killed. It's the seal. Gets killed.
And it's also because he's coming back from seeing Wally is where he went. He went to Tibet and hung out with Wally, and like Wally basically like tells him like, "Hey, let's unwind." And like he kind of through Joe's narrative, you find like Wally kind of showed him how he sees the world, and so Joe's like, "Yeah, I came back with a whole new perspective on it." I'm like, I'm glad we haven't forgotten about Wally.
Yeah.
So
the cousin is cool. There's some good Cisco moments. A lot of good moments. But yeah,
because he repeats his terrible date over and over again in more incredibly douchier ways.
And because he's the vibe, he gets to see each time he messes up.
Because he's following Ralph's advice. Because Ralph uses PI skills to get. He built files on all of her ex-boyfriends, and every single time.
Damn it! I fucking love this. I love Ralph so fucking much.
Oh, he is a light in this show.
He has a Bible like Barney from How I Met Your Mother or whatever. Like he has like a dating guide or whatever.
He had this like the second or third Bible that he's brought out.
Mm-hmm.
What's his face? The actor whose name is escaping me right now, but like he has such a fucking baby face. Like he looks like 16 years old, and on the show he's like the morally great one who's got a lot of shit in his fucking his ledger. Like he's done a lot of shitty stuff.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Like,
it works.
So pure though. Look at your chin; it's so pointy.
Yeah,
and your hair is perfect, and your face is just—you're gonna blemish on it.
Wow. Wow, Connor, you want to tell us something about you and this actor?
I've asked him for my hand in marriage.
Did you watch his show on CWC?
Fuck no.
where he plays a robot?
I want to see that because there's robots and there's zombies and like
he's a fucking horny robot or something?
No,
the robot who's protecting the last kid who can like jerk off or whatever.
It's Why the Last Man plus robots plus zombies.
Yeah,
that's awful. But okay, so the next episode was King Shark versus Gorilla Grodd.
Yes, and
also known as Shape of Water.
So
the Shape of Water episode.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the Guyver opening theme. Because,
I had no idea what that was.
It was very loud. But yeah, that was the Guyver opening theme because the guest star in this episode is David Hayter.
Wait, where?
Wait,
what?
He's King Shark.
He's not.
No,
he's not regular
King
guy.
Shark.
He's the voice of King Shark.
No, that is David Hayter. That is 100% David Hayter. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
No, it is. He's whenever King Shark, the shark is talking.
Oh my god, I had no fuck. I have to tell Joe.
No, I thought it was David Hayter because he looks a lot like David Hayter, but still.
No, I think.
Dummy thick.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
The actor that's the guy is not David Hayter. The guy that does the voice of King Shark is David Hayter.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really thought he was David Hayter, though.
Yeah, it's David Hayter's the voice. Yeah, and he's played by Dan Payne in human form. The voice is David Hayter.
Okay. Still.
It doesn't matter, though, because I'm like, okay, so David Hayter has played the Guyver and is basically also in more or less played a Zoonoid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was kind of a Guyver thing that they could have done if he was able to transform, and his thing was like, I'm angry that I was a monster and I killed people. Like, I was getting Guyver 2 vibes during this episode.
His go word is King Shark wants you gone, and he just fucking transforms.
All they need to do is have King Shark and the Trickster in an episode together.
Yeah, they do.
And I will say, for all the shit that we sometimes give this show for really bad looking special effects,
no, it was great.
King Shark and Grodd look
consistently
amazing.
Look fucking fantastic, and like there are details on King Shark's chest I should not be able to see.
They looked great separately, but the scene where they were fighting each other was
it was a little video gamey.
Yeah, but it was lit well, which helps quite a bit.
Grodd always is harder because of the fur. I feel like skin is much easier to render.
Yeah,
somewhat. There were moments where they're fighting where I'm like, this is something that you see on like the side of a porn site. Like this is this is like
more.
Favorite game, Sharkman versus Gorilla Guy.
Right. It's just this is not great. This does not look good.
But like there was a lot of sexual tension with that shark and that lady.
There was. Yeah, there really was.
Also, this fight was bloody as fuck.
Oh, yeah. King Shark gets like fucked up.
This was a violent fight between these two.
They fucking go for it. Like
I also like that Grodd is just like there. He's like, I'm gonna do my thing again. Fucking stupid psychic
Grodd escaped. Yeah,
but I did like that they like gave him the like this thing was like giving him the crown that he has in the comics all the time.
Yeah, that was really cool.
And I also love, what's her name? Diggle's wife, the dig about Flashpoint.
Oh my god. Okay.
That was so good.
This episode not only marked, her name's Lila, right?
Yeah, Lila.
Lila, like, fucking just burying Barry with a Flashpoint joke. Because someone was like, that's weird. She's like, yeah, not as weird as waking up and finding out your son's now your daughter. Isn't that right, Barry?
And Barry just has nothing to say. He's like,
Barry's like, me.
Yeah, that was me.
Also marked the return of Petty Cisco for one scene, and I laughed my balls off because it comes.
I don't remember this.
Okay, so in the beginning, when they say like, "Hey, we have the metahuman cure," which is also a big part.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like we will never use this as a weapon, and Barry's like, "I'm gonna fucking use it as a weapon."
They were almost. It was more like indignant Cisco and indignant Caitlin than anything else.
Gave me such hilarious flashbacks because like Barry does this unquestionably out of like, I need to save Cisco, he's gonna be crushed by the big shark man, and he does it, and everyone's like, God, Barry, you're such a fucking asshole, why'd you do that?
Oh, I see. I read that scene totally different.
Yeah. What the fuck? He's like,
I read that as yes, Cisco's about to get eaten, but it's like, you're a speedster. There was a lot of things you could do. But you just jabbed him with the magic-y pen because you want to see if it works.
The magic-y pen. That's the only word. That's the only word we can use it.
Darky Matter pen.
The MacGuffin pen.
Yes.
And I mean, obviously, it goes without saying, but both King Shark and Gorilla Grodd, they were chunk.
King Shark is super chunk. He's gigantic. Yes. I didn't realize how big he is, and also they have made is Gorilla Grodd growing every time they show him?
That That was my whole thing. Go ahead, Luke. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, when we first saw him, he was a gorilla. Now he's like
yeah,
big. No, in the first episode, he was big.
Well,
he's very big.
They definitely played with his size because I think like he was a regular gorilla when he was Thawne's possession, and like when he's out and about, like he's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's big enough to squat Barry like nothing. So
that was my whole thing. Like the fight between the two of them, I understand that gorillas are very strong and they have prehensile hands and feet, but you've got a giant walking fucking shark man. Like I don't understand how he didn't just dismantle Gorilla Grodd in about 5 seconds.
I'm looking at one of the promo shots. Like King Shark is twice his size. At the very least.
And actually, looking at still shots of King Shark, like this actually looks more impressive the more I look at it. He's a beautifully rendered character for this show, especially when you get like bad looking running Barry, where it's like that's a CGI noodle. Like
I do like the stuff where they're very still. That looks great.
I
do like that he still has pants. Like those are like my wife mentioned. She's like, "God damn, those are some great jeans." Like I'm looking at a promo shot, it still has a belt. Like his belt and he's
Hunter, I feel like this episode was tailor made for you. I got to hear your input on this.
I mean, of course, I loved it. Like,
why are you fucking asking me? What do you know? My answer, like
it, whenever you get two monsters fighting, like, I'm into that.
I think that this satiated me and Hunter until Godzilla comes out. This is our appetizer.
I generally really like how King Shark and like Grodd look. Mm-hmm. Like they look on par with most movie monsters. I feel like they almost like they fit into like the show very well.
I mean, they both look better than Ozaru, so like that's an
that's still embarrassing. Like just
even, like, that was a long time ago.
I know, but that's
show.
They both look better than Doomsday.
Yeah,
they do.
That's not a very high hurdle to jump.
It was a $100 million movie compared to.
Well, you mean show. Better than reused footage from Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring?
Down that road, then like King Shark definitely looks better than fucking Steppenwolf. Like King Shark emotes and moves better than Steppenwolf does.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. It's really weird.
Like King Shark, like even the way when he opens his fucking mouth, and I'm like, I can see the rows of teeth in his mouth and his like gross red gums. Steppenwolf's like, I have nothing under this helmet.
Yeah, I have a weird bone goatee.
My arms move like PlayStation 2.
Just you mentioning Doomsday and the cave troll from the first Lord of the Rings. I want to spread a rumor somehow, either started on Reddit or 4chan, that if you look carefully during Batman versus Superman, you can see Frodo on the back of Doomsday when he's jumping around.
They replaced him with a spike. That's what they did.
They would try to stab Frodo with the trident.
Exactly.
If you look in the right shot, you can see the chain from when they tried to choke him.
And then Elijah Wood's like on set.
Yes.
With his fucking claymore.
Exactly. Yeah, there's some child molesters.
God damn it.
You guys are on the up and up.
All this like schlocky awesome action. There's this subplot between the Earth One wife of King Shark. The Earth One wife of human King Shark, who's now basically in the care of Earth 2. I forget. Is King Shark basically marooned here because no one wants to fucking send him back?
Yeah.
I think that's the case.
Yeah.
And Argus also likes using him because remember he was like their guardian of some other MacGuffin in the past.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. They're basically saving him for like when they're allowed to do a Suicide Squad episode.
Yeah.
Oh, so he's an indentured servant at this point.
Yeah. Because I think Earth 1 of him died in the thing. Like it just killed. Like it should have just killed him.
Yeah. The dark matter explosion killed him. And in Earth 2 into a Sharkman. So I can't remember her name, but like she's kind of like his handler, and like there's some weird relationship stuff between them. Like there's this weird kind of will they won't they.
She gonna fuck that fish?
She's gonna
she's gonna have sex with that.
She totally was about to, because Sherlock is like, you know what's gonna happen? Get in on that fish boy.
Yeah.
Lava Girl and this is Lava Girl and Fish Boy 12.
I'm not going there.
God damn,
I'm not going to describe shark genitalia.
I don't think they have any. Although he is wearing jeans, so I guess he's hiding something.
I know a lot about shark genitalia, and I'm not going to say
why.
It
Why do you know a lot about sharks?
I know something about gorilla genitalia.
I think we all know a little something about gorilla genitalia.
Of all the primates, they have the smallest penis.
Eric,
yes, they do.
No right to tell someone, how do you know so much about blank?
Exactly.
I am a man of science, and I demand to research things.
Yeah, it goes so far as like by the end of this, like they kind of tease that the metahuman cure works on him, turns him back to human, the dark matter cells in his body replicate, and he turns back into King Shark. Just time for him to go have a fisticuff fight with Grodd. And then at the end of the episode, he's in his SeaWorld tank, and she's sitting kind of in the front of the glass, and they have like a moment between the glass. And I'm like, this is interesting character development with the Shark Man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I'm all about it.
Can I bring up one thing? How long did it take you to figure out who she was? Because for a while, I thought that she was what's his name's daughter from Legends, Firestorm.
Oh shit!
For like a minute, I was like, "Oh, is that her?" And then I was reading, I was like, "Oh, that's because they recast the actress. So this is not the original actress playing the wife."
Okay. God damn it, Arlen.
Oh. You know, all I can think of is I bet those are a delicacy in Japan.
Would it surprise anybody? So the following episode I did not watch because I was trying to kind of get to the most recent one as fast as I could.
Well, all right.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else.
I watched it. It's fine. Like this is the one where basically Nora's like, "Oh, Flash he's going to save us by giving an awesome speech," and she's like, "What about the speech that you gave this person?" It's like, "Oh, well, that girl had split personality." It's like, yeah, well, they were all like kind of good. And then it's like, he doesn't like, he's just murdering the shit out of people. Like, what am I supposed to say to him?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh, to Cicada, you mean?
Yeah, it's a Cicada. Yeah. To like be like, hey.
Yeah, I remember what this one is now. This is the one where he convinces Cicada to give up his powers, and then Cicada 2 shows up out of nowhere.
Okay.
That's the end of the episode, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, because Cicada 2 is kind of a big thing going forward in the season, I'm not a fan.
You mean for like former guest star of Smallville?
Well, okay, so and this might be a spoiler for some of you. Seeing as the next episode airing is called Godspeed, I feel like we're not going to have to deal with it for that long.
Here's the thing, and I guess this is a lot of common thought being shared around the internet regarding this. Godspeed is going to show up as a speedster first, and then down the line we're going to get more about him.
I completely think that he's going to be a tease for another season.
I think he's going to be. I think it's going to be. We're going to find out. We're going to meet Godspeed the speedster, and then meet him as a human, but we'll be unaware that it's him, more or less.
Yeah, sort of a vigilante type thing.
Yeah, and that's actually it works because in the comics, Godspeed's first thing he does is find the man who killed his brother, and one of the first things he does is like I guess like an anti-hero because he's not a straight up villain. That's the thing. Like
I would say he's like barely a villain. He's an antagonist.
Like he teamed up with Barry, Wally,
all of them. It was like Barry, both Wallies,
speedster unit to fight Grodd. Like he was like, oh no, fuck this gorilla, let's go kick his ass. But one of the first things he does, he finds a man who killed his brother and then drags him at speedster paces throughout Central City. Like he drags this dude to death while going at super speed.
You mentioned vigilante. Does this mean he's going to be on skis at some point?
Yes, he runs skis.
Bring back Vigilante.
And then he'll just, and then despite being what's essentially invulnerable, he just dies anyway.
They bring back a corpse whose brain is all.
The next episode got called Godspeed, but I don't think he's going to be the central villain of the season going forward. And this episode introduces the new cicada, which, spoiler, it's Dwyer's niece, Grace. She's an adult, and she's
we already saw her in that other episode.
Yeah. And, she is without personality. She is villain for the sake of being a villain, and all she does is go, "They must pay."
Well, we couldn't all see that fucking coming. Like once they introduced her in a coma on the bed, whatever, with her various head injuries. I
said in the chat, I said, "Oh no, Dwyer's been devoted." It's because they basically in the following episode, Dwyer gets fucking 86th, and she's the new cicada, and I'm like, "You're infinitely less interesting than the one who came before you."
Yep,
and not as fun to watch. I'm sorry.
Are we to assume that she works at the same place that Uncle Cicada worked at, where she has to wear that rebreather? And,
no, she's from the way future.
So she works at that company in the future, is what you're telling me?
Probably.
She mentions a bunch of goofy future stuff.
So I do have a couple questions that maybe we can answer. So, is she actually a time traveler, or
yes? We see a big part of the episode is the time sphere.
Okay. The recent episode called Time Bomb is where this all kind of comes to a head, and basically, now this is also introduction of Starchives, which I thought was a cool thing.
I thought it was an awesome idea.
Yeah, Starchives is a hidden facility that Team Flash set up to take all their extra shit, super suits, tech, gadgets that's not being used, that needs to be kept away from people, and it's hidden in this fucking facility called Starchives. Mm-hmm. There, they have a bunch of Eobard Thawne's tech, including his time sphere.
Which this isn't the only... We see this space twice in this episode.
Yeah. So Cisco's like, okay, someone just broke into Starchives and then they just stole a high value object. So they go to look for it, and they find it in the middle of in the middle of what you could say is Gorilla City, also known as the Forest of Canada. It's the same fucking forest that Zoom's Fortress is in. It's the same forest they filmed Gorilla City in. It's the same one. Right. Big fucking
yeah.
And the time sphere is sitting right there. And they're like, okay, well, this is weird. Like, who used this? And then you have somebody else back at Starchives going, well, I don't know what you found because the time sphere is right here.
I think the two teams, it's like Ralph and Cisco, and the other team is Iris and...
Yeah. And Cisco says, all right, initiate Operation Shazam. And somebody at the Starchives base takes like a knife or a piece of metal and starts drawing a lightning bolt into the side of it. And the sphere in front of the people in the woods, that starts to have the lightning bolt become etched into it. So the one they're standing in front of is the one from the future.
So Shazam is canon, is what you're saying. Huh? Shazam.
Well, they make these two episodes, they make a ton, like Eobard drops like a ton of stuff. Like he said, he references Commandi and Anthro.
Yes, the Commandi reference I picked up right away.
Yeah. Anthro the first boy to Commandi the last.
This is also the episode where Eobard is basically like, I didn't know a second cicada was going to happen. Like, I was wrong. You have to tell Barry. And so, like, the big thing of this episode is Nora's like, I don't know how to fucking tell Barry. And that's the big drama going into it. And, like, it shows Eobard's cell, and it seems like he has 12 minutes left. We don't know what's going to happen to him.
I think it seems, based on what he's been saying, that it's to his execution.
I have heard execution are depowered for life.
That would be about the same thing for him, honestly.
Yeah,
probably.
Because that the Speed Force, like he loses out on like what could be like more cosmic knowledge. Where the fuck, like he can't go anywhere. Like he's just stuck here now.
And he's not in his future either, which is a big.
Yeah.
No, he's in her future.
Somebody else's future. He's like, I'm still not fucking home. But basically, the second cicada shows up, and he's like, "You need to go tell your father." He's like, "Because there's nothing else I can do for you." So she leaves, and like the whole episode, she's mulling it over. That doesn't come to a head until the end of the episode because you see Sherlock working with her notes a lot, and one of the things he finds is this is fucking awesome. He goes into like an old storeroom at Star Labs. I like how we see more.
I thought he went to the Star thing where the ball was.
Yeah. So he goes and he walks in. He's like, he for some reason immediately suspects Eobard Thawne is somehow involved in this.
Well, it's because of the dream episode. Because he asked Barry what was her guardian, and they're like, "Oh, it was Eobard Thawne's suit."
Okay, that's right. And he's going through a bunch of stuff, and he finds, and I like how this shows commitment to preserving this character and all this stuff that's attached to him. He finds Harrison Wells' glasses, and he puts them on. And like right away, I'm like, it's just Tom Cavanaugh cosplaying Harrison Wells, cosplaying Sherlock Holmes, cosplaying. He puts them on. He's like, if I were Harrison Wells, aka Eobard Thawne, he's like, I would be a man of secrets. And then he pulls a tarp off, and there's his fucking wheelchair. And he sits down, and he's like, if I'm a man of secrets, I want my secrets close. And he finds this button in the wheelchair that opens up a little compartment next to it. It's basically got one of those flash drives that Wells gave to Barry. But this is a different one. This is not the same one that had the Speed Force equation on it. Sherlock takes it to Gideon, and Gideon does what Gideon does and goes, hello, Professor Wells. And then it's on this flash drive is a video of basically Wells-Bard discussing how he's like, previously in my attempts to time travel, like there were things in my way, there were obstacles because the multiverse is a source code. And he basically says, I've cracked the source code. I know how to change time without causing catastrophic effects. So they kind of have their fail-safe for their own fucking time travel rules built into this little plot device. Because if Eobard has always known how to alter the timeline without causing drastic, universal, fallout, then like who's to say that the ability can't be, picked up by others?
I read it as something different.
Really?
What I read it as is that everything can change in time and no one will remember unless you're the one changing it, except this language is the only thing that is constant.
Okay.
And that is how, when she writes in her journal, no matter what changes are made, it doesn't change. And thus it's a time, like he invented a language that cannot be altered by any changes in time.
Okay. Either or kind of works.
Yeah. So that way he could like pass like info off to himself if he changes the timeline.
And at some point, like Sherlock looks at the blueprints for the time sphere, and the words "the timeline is malleable" is written on it there.
And so, Iris walks in and she looks at it and she's like, shit.
Well, this would explain a lot of things, like how season 2 of Legends Wells knew what was going to happen to him. It's very clear that Wells wrote down, well, this is going to happen. You should know about that, and sent it to his past self.
Because he seems to be able to...
Oh, he has been able to kind of anticipate Barry's arrival in the 2 times that Barry went back. I wouldn't say as much as anticipate, but like more or less be ready for it. Like maybe not the exact time and place, but he's like, at some point, like this season when Barry goes back and just walks to the fucking wall, Eobard's not even stunned. He's like, oh, hello again. There you are, and here you are.
It also explains how he knows the names of like 15 different kids of Barry's because he's been writing them all down.
Yes. And how he knows about Savitar and all that other stuff because like Savitar is like a big paradoxical time, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
Well, if this time language has become his primary language, then it would also stand to reason that his thoughts are constant across all different versions of him, and all different timelines.
Well, that, and he has access to Gideon, and he's able to send stuff to himself because that's the same thing that Nora's been doing. Because for some reason in this jail, he has access to a computer.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I suppose like it's may I please have access to like learning materials? I mean,
you can even go farther than so. Have we all seen the movie Arrival?
The new one or the one with Charlie Sheen with the alien's legs?
No, that one's awesome.
I'm talking about that.
The one with the splits and all that.
I haven't seen the new one yet. No.
But do you know what the basic plot idea is?
No, but it's been long enough, and like I'm not like gonna get mad if you just kind of what it is.
So the basic idea is that the aliens in that they speak a language which is transient across time. So when you start to learn their language, you start thinking the way that time actually flows instead of through linear time. So you start dreaming about things that are going to happen in your future. And you in your future starts reliving moments from your past, and it starts to become all jumbled, and when becomes far less unclear. And the language that Eobard has invented sounds a lot like that. So
yeah, I would say the only difference is it's not in his head. Like it seems like it has to be put down on paper or in like a computer, or something.
Now, it could be now again, if it's become his primary language, in the way that, like, if German becomes your primary language, it changes the way that you think.
Yes, yeah. What, like, the dreaming thing is very important, because it's like, if you grow up I don't know, if you have like multiple languages, you can dream like kind of in a jumbled mix of them. Yeah. They say whatever you dream in, the language is like your true language. Yeah, because that's like your subconscious. But like, to me, the way they're writing it, it's more like, which is why it makes sense of why Nora is writing on a paper bound notebook, is that it's like a physical object.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now
definitely sending messages all through time.
When Barry was in the Speed Force, how did he come across this language?
Because it became the language of the Speed Force, because Eobard created the Speed Force. I'm calling it right now. That's what happened.
To me, I think it's more of like, while in the Speed Force, he has like seen all the different timelines.
Yeah, probably.
And so he's seen Eobard writing it.
Well, so when he was in there, I wouldn't be surprised if in a later season, Eobard travels back in time and talks with Barry, who was still in the Speed Force. Because in the Speed Force, time works differently.
Yeah.
It's like all at once.
Yeah, so you could probably go in there and you could, even though Wally is no longer in the Speed Force, you could meet the Wally who was in the Speed Force and talk to him.
Yeah.
Which would be a real mindfuck. Wally could go back
any moment that has happened is always happening at every second of every day. You know, it's because
time is infinity. It's like all things are happening at the same time.
And actually, what's funny is that this ties back to the beginning of the episode. The universe of Dark Souls, actually, they say at some point, like, time is convoluted in that universe, and sometimes things from distant past will kind of just pop up into reality for a little while, and you can go and experience like a location like Anne Orlando in the glory it was 1,000 years ago, even though the time you're currently in, it's a derelict building. But then there's no control over it, so it just kind of fades from existence after a while. And like after,
like a time delay.
Yeah, basically. And like people who've been dead for a long time you can just have conversation with them, be like, "Oh, well, you're here." He's like, "Yeah, but in 2 weeks I die, and where you are, I've been dead for 200 years." Mm-hmm. But towards the end of Dark Souls 3, when like an apocalyptic event is about to happen, all of reality, every age, every era, every piece of history gets resurrected and sucked into a single point, like a singularity. So you have something called the Dredge Heap, which is basically like, it's just kingdom after kingdom. It's basically like, imagine if all of Europe's history just got sucked into a single point, like tomorrow.
Yeah. The Wedding of River Song. That's what you're describing.
Yes.
Another Doctor Who episode.
Yeah. The 3 things I didn't think we'd be able to run a through line with were The Flash, Doctor Who, and Dark Souls.
Doctor Who makes a lot of sense.
Where Winston Churchill is both the Prime Minister and the
yes,
and the Empire and the Emperor of Rome at the same time.
But in Dark Souls 3, it's far less organized. And what you have is basically like, it looks like a junkyard, but of like, you're like, that's a cathedral I've seen in Dark Souls 2. That's a building I went to in Dark Souls 1. That's an entire civilization that's thrown on top of that's just piled on top of itself. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just a pile of shit. And you're at some point asked to traverse this thing, and that's the end of the world in Dark Souls terms. And I would imagine that the Speed Force is a far more organized version where like everything that ever was is viewable and accessible to the person who, like, if I got stuck in the Speed Force tomorrow in that universe, I probably wouldn't perceive it or even conceive it. I would probably go mad. But because Barry, Eobard, Nora, they're all speedsters, they can sit there and slow it down and process it.
Yeah, to me, it'll be interesting to see if they actually address all this. But like in more recent comics, like the Speed Force is like the way the multiverse burns off energy.
Yeah.
And that's why, or like, it is the energy that the multiverse creates, and they need flashes to burn it off. So if you're in there, you're not only seeing like all of time in your dimension, you're seeing all of time in all of the dimensions.
Right. That makes sense. That's why a speedster can travel from dimension to dimension, because
universe to universe, because he's in tune with all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is why in the comics they have like what do they call it? It's like there's like a meeting, there's like a thing they do, and it's like all of the flashes of all the Earths can talk.
Oh, right. Yeah, Barry did that in their recent run.
He really, before he went on his Force quest.
Which is hysterical because, like, he talks to, like, a rootin' tootin' fucking double revolver sporting cowboy Flash.
Yeah, my favorite is the
fucking best.
The animal, like the cartoon animal world with its, like, Super Bunny. The Flash on that world is a turtle.
Yeah, great. Yes.
Fantastic. I love it.
This episode... Oh, go ahead,
DC universe. That's what we all want, cowboys as the DC characters.
Yes.
But this episode kind of comes to like the climax of this episode. Well, okay, they do fight Grace. She goes to the hospital, kill this woman that she thought killed her parents because she's a secret meta, and this meta like 2 years ago, or like 2 years ago, like accidentally discharged her meta power and like blew up an ATM
that killed Grace's parents. Yes. And she is now a mom with a kid, and her power is basically Gambit.
Yeah, she can charge objects with like kinetic energy and then discharge it.
So she charges a soccer ball and punts it at her head.
Fucking throws it at great. It's fucking awesome. But it blows up and it injures her daughter at the same time. So then like her dad.
Well, I actually think that's one of the better parts of the episode is like dealing with the fallout of like getting outed.
Yes,
as a meta,
which works because like Nora is sitting there the whole time getting sadder and sadder because she's like, I have to tell my dad that I'm working with the guy who killed his mother, and then she witnesses firsthand a family who has a meta hiding amongst them, and then she watches as his family fall apart because the husband's like, you fucking lied to us, you almost hurt our daughter. He's like, you're dangerous, you're a weapon.
The daughter doesn't want to be around her, and Barry the whole time while they're protecting them at like a birthday party, he's basically like, oh, it's like understanding like the lies and hiding stuff, but I've learned through my experience. It's just better off you just to tell everybody, and they can just deal with it and make decisions for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's like, like my friend Lila who called me out the other day. Although the list of people who have called Barry out for Flashpoint is getting too long at this point. I feel like anybody else that brings it up, it's like, dude, you want to bring that up now? Really? It's been like 2 years. Like,
it's not longer, actually. Really,
it's like you don't even remember the world. So.
Yeah, like shut up, Cisco. You don't remember. You don't even remember what it was like before Flashpoint.
Like you don't even remember when your brother wasn't killed.
Yeah, that's like looking at your fucking relative, going like, "You gonna meet my niece?" It's like, who cares? She's not making memories. She's one.
So
this all kind of comes to a head because, one, they fight Grace, and Grace is OP, of course, and Grace has a whole new fucking set of powers. The one thing it did I kind of find cool that caught me off guard, even though it's a little too convenient, is that she can basically turn Cisco's breaches into inhospitable gateways. He can't go near them.
Yeah, because the dark matter stuff is in her brain, her powers are even more amped. So she can actually control metas because she can control dark matter because it's in her brain.
Shit.
Yeah,
and the only thing I wasn't a fan of was the stuff with Nora, where like they are now psychically connected
because Nora spent some time in her brain.
Yeah,
I guess
but then like Dwyer kind of shows up after Grace attacks the hospital again. A lot of fights have happened at this fucking hospital.
Oh, that one specific, like right in front of it, like by the emergency.
Yeah, it's also revealed here that Grace went and killed the doctor who was taking care of Dwyer.
They showed it in the last episode when she's like, she straight up like does the dagger like right in her chest.
Okay. But then like Dwyer shows up, and I keep saying Dwyer because I can't remember his first name. He's just Cicada One, but
Orland
Dwyer. Yeah, he shows up. And he tries talking her down, and then she just kills him. And I was very upset by this.
She throws the thing into his back.
Yeah, it's chasing Cisco and chasing Nora, and then like he tries talking her down. She's like, "Okay, then," and then summons a dagger into his back, and he dies. I was like, if you're gonna pivot away from Cicada One, I'd really not have you kill the dude because honestly, he was really intriguing and I liked Chris Klein's performance.
His last line is like, doesn't he say like save her or something?
Yeah, and like her and like it's I use the DeVoe thing because like, okay, you took an actor who I was getting really into their physical performance and everything about it, and then you transition to someone who is far less interesting with far less interesting motivations, who doesn't have the same presence. I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I'm bored by it, but I'm immediately disappointed by it.
I mean, I haven't seen the newest episodes, so I don't know.
She doesn't really get a lot to do. She has like 2 scenes without the mask on where she's actually talking.
But it's more of, I'm angry, they must pay, everyone must die, shake your hands at the sky kind of stuff.
Yeah, she's basically like
a little girl. It was just like a little girl like beating people up and shit. Like that would be
because kids with powers are fucking terrifying. But like,
well, they address all the stuff. Like they're like, oh, can't we just? I don't remember what characters like. Well, can't we just give her like in the past the cure? And they're like, no, it's in her brain, so it might just like straight up kill her.
Yeah. But again, it's like you took a grown woman and you're making her throw very childlike temper tantrum. It's like, I don't like this character because I'm just watching someone throw a hissy fit. And then when sense is being talked into them by someone who's close to them, who they care about, they just kill them. It's like, I'm not interested in you because this is the easy way out.
The only thing
it's not as egregious as Dr. Alchemy into Savitar and then DeVoe into DeVoe's.
DeVoe.
The only thing I think if they play on the brain, if they play on the brain damage and like it's just like in her brain and just like making her nuts.
Yeah.
If they show the future version, her scar on her head is like gigantic.
It kind of reminds me of like Zoom, where like Zoom did have a lot of cool mystery to him, but then once like you figure it out, it's Hunter Zolomon. He just becomes he's like booga booga booga. He's like, I'm evil and it's fun, and I'm like, that works for you, but let's not do this again. And we're doing it again.
Yeah. And they set up a lot of mysteries that like they didn't answer, as we talked about many times. You know, why are his eyes black? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, what like he has? His harnessing of the Speed Force is like you found like the dark Speed Force essentially. It's almost like there's version of the negative Speed Force, but it's never really played on at all.
I would love, and it's such a dumb thing in the comics. All of the Wallies have been able to like make clothes in the Speed Force.
Yeah.
And it's like such a dumb ability that like Barry's like, I don't know why I can't do this, but like all their costumes are actually made from Speed Force. They're like pure Speed Force.
Well, it's one of those things in the Flash comic, like each generation of Speedster has an ability that the one prior to them didn't. Like, wasn't it Impulse? I can't remember what that character's name is, but he could actually retain Bart. Thank you. He could retain the information he read from books like super fast, while none of the other Speedsters
they lose it in like minutes.
And with Eobard, like, since he created the negative Speed Force, like Barry said, like that's why he can travel back in time without the cosmic treadmill. With a treadmill, he can alter his appearance. Like his offense and defense are completely different. Like it gives him abilities that I can't understand because his version of the Speed Force is the direct opposite of mine. It comes to the benefits and disadvantages I don't understand.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like I don't know, like Jay Garrick like didn't even get the Speed Force at first. Wasn't his like some kind of like reaction to electrified water or some shit like that?
The original like Golden Age.
Yeah. It's really ridiculous.
Yeah, he's not. They retconned it to Speed Force, but
yeah.
Well, they retconned it to a couple things. Like one of them, he was getting his powers from the god Mercury.
No, we don't talk about the new 52 version. No.
Yeah, I think
what's the new 52? Jay Garrick?
The new 52 Jay Garrett is what Arlen just said. Where like all the gods are dead, and then Mercury gives him his powers. But for some reason, instead of being the classic look with Jay Garrick with the Mercury look, he gets like a super suit and looks like a Power Ranger.
Oh no! Right. I have to look.
And he's also a douche, and he runs away from battle all the time.
Hell yeah!
Okay, I'm actually combining two things because there's another speedster before Jay Garrick who also got his powers from Mercury.
Max Mercury.
Max Mercury.
I think so. Yeah, probably.
Oh no! Wait a minute. I've seen this before. Oh,
yeah, where he has like the goofy helmet.
He looks like fucking Ant-Man.
Yeah,
kind of,
suit, the actual suit look is like red and then blue on the bottom.
This is puke worthy. This is gross. I hate it. God, he does look like a Power Ranger. Also, here he is, choking a man with his head.
Oh, yeah, I googled that. And yeah, that's the old Jake Erik.
What is happening here?
Johnny Quick. That's who I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, Johnny Quick is the evil version.
Or no, Johnny Quick. Yeah,
Johnny Quick is the Earth 3 version where like it's Power Ring.
Wait, okay. What am I thinking of? Okay,
there's a lot of speedsters.
There's a ton. I mean, there's with this show showed us the accelerated man, but we've never seen him again. He's a real thing. What was the one that Gypsy talked to for a second? That's the accelerated man.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you go and read Jeff Johns' Flash Rebirth comic, like Flash runs across like a bunch of the speedsters who haven't been in the mainline continuity run because they're stuck in the Speed Force. He ends up accidentally killing a few of them because of the whole Black Flash thing. But that's also where you find out that Eobard has a negative Speed Force and that it gives him an after image. Like he can change his appearance, he can alter his age, he can do all this other cool stuff. That is a gross outfit. My God,
that's Johnny Quick.
Yeah,
because that's him with Owlman. He's like the Owl Ultraman Power Ranger.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, well, he's the one who has to take like
he's the evil
heroin.
Flash.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah,
he's essentially on like speed heroin.
Oh, isn't that I'm Johnny from DC Universe Bridge?
Yes, yeah, that's Johnny Quick.
I'm Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
And he keeps having visions of fucking DC Rebirth, and evil Superman's like, Johnny, what did I tell you about dabbling with the Speed Force again? Okay, stop that. So this episode kind of comes to a head when they all kind of decide they're going to go out, and Nora. Oh, let's go over Cisco's thing real fast. Cisco has a girlfriend he doesn't want to expose to the Team Flash nonsense, and if that isn't being telegraphed as his exit from the show, then I don't know what else is.
Yeah, well, he's been basically talking about since the idea of the Medicure that he's like, I just want to be normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, being able to teleport and like see things when I touch stuff is really lame. So
right.
I just want to be a guy.
Yeah. I just want to. What is he going to do for a job though? Like he ostensibly works at Star Labs, doesn't he? Won't he be exposed to this bullshit regardless?
Well, I imagine he would just, since he's not becoming a show regular, I'm imagining he leaves Central City, which seems to be like the fate of everyone who gets written off. They leave Central City, which is like,
he goes to another city and builds another.
At least he builds one without a hole in the roof.
Exactly.
Yeah, every time I see it, I'm like, you have how many speedsters have come through this building? You can fix it in 10 minutes.
God, okay,
just fix it.
Zoom treated fucking Star Labs like he had a revolving door. Like he just go in and out. Like he shows up when Barry gets like killed for a second. Just show up, pick up Barry's outfit, and go, Barry's dead, and just leaves.
It was a real problem. Multiple villains would just like waltz in. Like, how did you? Here.
Well, yeah, they say it all the time.
They make a joke out of it in season 2 because like Cisco's like, this place is as secure as it'll ever be, and then like the fake Jake Erik walks in, and Cisco's like, son of a bitch, like. That season has the best outtake ever, where Teddy Sears is like doing his thing about the turtle, and Grant Gustin just goes, "Shut up, Jay," and then like Teddy Sears goes and does this nervous ass laughter. But anyway, yeah, Cisco has a girlfriend, this little Asian girl he doesn't want to expose, and Ralph shows up while they're having coffee. And he's like, "Hey, Cisco, you want to go help me save the world and go talk to Barry Allen, aka the Flash?"
Christ.
Oh well, he's like, oh, I was trying to give her Peter Parker moment. Like maybe she'll come by, she'll get bitten by a radioactive bug. She'll flip around.
These two harp around the Spider-Man joke for a good while.
Or the other way to give her powers, which is different.
Rain.
Well, it's fatal eventually. But
is Cisco gonna like vibe into her?
But
there are going to be webs involved.
She will keep a head full of flowing hair. Yeah, exactly. She'll keep a head full of flowing hair even when she's a skeleton.
Exactly. Yeah.
But this episode kind of eventually ends with Nora not even getting the chance to tell everyone what's going on because
she
she tries to, and Sherlock comes in and just fucking drops the hammer on her.
Oh no, he basically drops trowel and pulls it out and goes like, "Here it is."
He comes in and he reveals everything. By the way, this is, I think we said it before, like Sherlock is one of my favorite Wells's, and Tom Cavanaugh is like really into this performance, and I really love it.
Oh, he walks around, he chews that scenery to perfection.
And then he exposes Nora, and this is one of the most finely acted sequences I've seen this show produce, because they like the whole room is just staring at Nora, and she doesn't even have the energy or confidence to turn and look at anybody. And Sherlock, I think all
she says is like, "Sherlock, stop!" And he just is like,
he just keeps going, and it gets more awkward and more awkward. And like Barry's eyes are fucking turning red, and he's like, his lip starts quivering. He's just shaking with anger. And then before she gets a chance to explain herself, he grabs her and super speeds her off to the pipeline and locks her up, and that's the show. That's the episode ends.
Oh, well, you missed like one. So basically, no, Iris goes, "Tell me this is not true," and then she just stands there.
Barry's like, she can't.
Yeah, and then Barry throws her into the thing, and she's like, "I'm sorry, I wanted to tell you," and he just looks and goes, "I wish you did," and speeds away.
Or he's like, I think she says, "I'm sorry, I lied to you," and he's like, "Me too," and then he walks away, and that's how we're left right now, going to Godspeed. And I think the teaser for Godspeed we got so far was Eobard alluding like, no, something else big is coming, and there's nothing any of us can do about it. And they don't show Godspeed in the teaser, but like, it's at this point we're done dancing around the subject. Like, this fucking character's coming. Like,
well, the next episode is titled Godspeed.
Exactly. Like, I don't think this is a ploy. I don't think we're being teased. Like, I think this is kind of a big deal.
No, that's some obscure term that they're doing.
And I think we've kind of bullshit about like Godspeed and Red Death are like the two more interesting speeches they can do, and I think we've kind of already assessed the idea that like Ollie could make for a good Red Death.
Well, there was that. There was. It would be an interesting way to keep like to do something with him since that show's ending,
and that would be since he has stated like just because Arrow's ending doesn't mean I'll be gone. That is a pretty effective bombshell to drop on people, especially if Red Death show up for like a season and a half, kind of sparingly. He shows up and just causes fucking mayhem.
Well, he's the universe's Batman, so like if they did anything of like close to like the dark multiverse that in Batman Metal would be fucking craziness.
Yeah. So it should be season 1 Ollie where he's all like, "You have failed this city," and he just like fucking shoots people in the fucking chest with an arrow. And he's like, "You might die. I don't give a fuck." And just
which actually would be kind of a cool way to reveal it, because like he keeps like silently coming up, fucking Barry shit up, like causing death, causing damage, and like finally he just like has a big showdown with Barry, says like, "You have failed the city," and then like that's your big reveal.
Man, they could do something when he what
fucking rad.
Was it season 2 of Arrow? What season was Arrow and Flash that like they had their first team up with when he was trying to train Barry?
It's season 1 of Flash. It's season 3? 2?
Yeah.
Because it's okay. When was the Dark Archer? Is that season 3?
Dark Archer is season 1, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no, when Ollie becomes the Dark Archer, when he's wearing all black.
Oh, with Raish, season 3.
Because when Oliver shows up to help Barry fight Thawne in season 1, he is in full like Black Archer regalia. Like he's
all fucking League of Shadows or League of Assassins stuff and shit. Like
because I was only thinking like that would be an interesting time for him to turn. It's like you are wasting like your abilities. It's like, do you know what I could do with this?
Yeah, I would love if it was. I didn't even think of it as being a reveal, but that would be great. And like, and I don't even think it has to be he's fucking up. I've said before, it's just that like he's just killing criminals. Like he's not doing the process. It's just like, but Barry's Barry, and he's like, you can't just kill them. You have to like arrest them or something. You have to do it.
Well, yeah, right. Barry's a cop.
Yeah, and then it's kind of a Punisher Daredevil thing where it's like,
I think the problem is like that's kind of what Godspeed already is. So unless they change what Godspeed is for the show, which I'm okay with, because like we've already discussed the fact that like in season 3, Julian would have been a fantastic stand-in for Augustus Hart, but Julian's gone. And at this point, if you introduce Augustus Hart and you're trying to build a mystery, people who have read the comic will go, no, that's fucking God. Like that's the only reason this character exists is to become Godspeed. Unless you pull like the bait and switch of season 2, which like people have given them shit for, they stopped doing it. They stopped doing big speech reveals. Well, that's kind of
right. But they can still do a big reveal. We've talked about it many times. The Chase reveal was huge because we did.
There are other, because there's been other, because one of the other newer villains was, I cannot remember her name, but she's the one that took the negative speed force.
Yeah, after Barry rips the negative speed force from Thawne, which is something you can do. Which is funny because like he
and then Iris murders him.
Iris murders the shit out of River's Flash. She blows his upper torso off. That's also where the Rick and Morty meme comes from, where it's like it's fucking it's Morty's head on Flash's body, and he's grabbing Thawne, who has Rick's body on him, and Morty's like, "Why do you keep messing with my life? What's wrong with you?" And Thawne's like, "You're the only friend I have. I don't know who else I'd spend time with."
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, Barry reaches into Thawne and like pulls out this like red silhouette of Thawne and just like absorbs it. Yeah, I'm like, didn't know you could do that.
I think the character's name is Mina.
It's Mina, yeah. And then basically she was supposedly killed by Godspeed in the beginning of the Rebirth run. And because
in the comic version of the Speed Force Storm, basically half of Star City or half of the city, Central City, gets Speed Force powers.
Yeah, and then Star Labs is set up as like a speedster space camp, basically.
Yeah. And only 3 survive. It's Mina we think is dead. Godspeed was ripping the Speed Force out of them.
Yeah.
And then the other one leaves and joins like Justice League China.
Yeah. That's something else that actually we learned about Godspeed, is that one of his methods of killing people is to phase them through a wall and then stop halfway.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking metal as shit.
Yes.
I think at some point, like, someone comes up and you just see like a pair of legs hanging out of a wall, and someone's like, "What happened to him?" You're like, "He was phased, but not all the way."
Yeah, he's pretty brutal with his killing.
Also, one of his biggest abilities that I didn't know this was as literal as I thought. His Speed Force ability is that he can actually make actual duplicates of himself, not time or speed mirages, like actual duplicates. So he splits his power evenly between his second form and can just go apeshit on himself.
He has multi-form technique?
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Like, he does have Barry.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, because at some point he's like, "Guess what, Barry? I'm faster than you because I can be in 2 places at once," and then just starts beating Barry from 3 sides.
It's a shadow clone no jutsu. It just pops up a bunch of other ones.
And then he fired the special beam cannon.
Yeah, all these things.
Well, Wally does have a clothesbeam.
He does. Clothesbeam. But yeah, I'm kind of, with the exception of the Grace thing, which I don't know how long that'll actually stick for, because where we're headed with Eobard and potentially Godspeed and potentially their speedsters, or other big villains, like, kind of excited to see what the show is going for the first time in 2 years.
The only way I can see Godspeed being a main bad is if he just pops in and kills Kid Grace immediately.
Yeah,
that would actually be just everything
fucking metal.
This is fucking awesome.
If you just come in and he's just holding a pillow over her head,
like, let me show you how useless you are, Barry. Stab.
It's like, I don't even need my powers to beat this villain.
My only concern is that I hope that one shot that someone got of that stuntman is really not close to the finished product, because he looked like a fucking Mexican wrestler.
Yeah, he did.
He looked a little goofy looking.
It looks a lot like the Zoom suit spray painted white.
Yeah. Also, like, the eyes weren't finished, and like it was very clearly set up to a stunt rig, so like there's gonna be some after effects and stuff put on that. Like, I think,
unlike a lot of the other speedsters, like, he's one of the guys that were like, he should have constant lightning around him.
Yeah, and his suit in the at least in the page, like, since it's a full body suit, like, it looks like he has actual lenses where his eyes should be. And some of the stuff on his suit looks like it's actually got like a plate to it. Like, I like his overall design, so I hope it's not just on the show. He's like, they're like, "Here's more leather,"
right?
Which is my biggest pet peeve. Which is funny because now every time, like, Barry, his new fucking suit is really bad. And at some point during one of the recent episodes, like, he did some movement, and the entire back of his neck where the suit is folds out and basically comes off, and his little fucking bike helmet bobbled. I'm like,
Yeah,
fix it.
Well, again, I don't. I feel like we're asking them to make a suit that makes Grant feel uncomfortable, and like,
that's the part of the problem. It's like there has to be a happy medium between functionality and his own personal comfort and appearance. But like, I think they overcorrected him with like, no, this is a human, but this is a body condom with a fucking a helmet attachment.
Right.
Yeah.
Or they could just be like, why don't we just pay you some more to put you in an uncomfortable costume?
Yeah.
Like, there's a number that'll make him be like, fuck it.
I mean, I think he's already in as long as they'll have him, because it's like, unlike Amel, he didn't get that chance to go be in a fucking blockbuster. That Amel had little to no effect on success or failure wise. He was just in it.
I think it'll happen to him. He's been on enough. Like, I've actually seen Gustin on like talk shows and stuff, and he seems like he's barely acting when he plays Barry. Yeah. He also came from Glee.
Yeah, and he did a short film with Tom Cavanaugh called Grant and Tom.
Oh, well, they're best buddies, and they
are real life best buddies. And apparently, that film was at Sundance and got a standing ovation. It's a short film, but apparently, it's really good. And it's just like it's them two as themselves, but if they're just fucking losers.
Oh, their Instagrams with each other are hilarious because if you're a sports fan at all, somehow they're randomly, because Cavanaugh's from New York and he's like a big Giants fan. And for some reason, Gustin is, and they just like post random videos every Sunday during the football season on their Instagram, and like they bought each other jerseys and like hang out.
Well, I think that the thing we've always said about this cast is that like the chemistry they have off screen is just as good as it is on screen. Which, like, I guess we could probably say now that news broke today that Emily Bett is not coming back for Arrow season 8, which is weird.
That's crazy.
Which
I feel like that's, if you're current on it, like it makes sense in the story they're writing.
It does, but it's like she's not coming back for the last season, really?
Yeah,
she has to have another job or something.
She
wheelchair.
Wheelchair. Yes. I think she comes back in the crossover, even if she says regular.
I think I posted on the thing. I was like, I guarantee that like everyone that's ever been in the show is coming back on. Because it also ties into that other photo from Instagram, which was Amel hanging out in that bar with Tommy.
Yeah. Well, not everyone. I think the Hawks will not be there.
No. Yeah, we don't. But they never were on Arrow.
Watch Rival gets a spot in Fractures on Infinite Earth, and the Hawks don't show up.
Yes,
I would love that. I'm just waiting for Vigilante to come back.
I just meant on like that last season of Arrow. I bet everybody that was part of Arrow pops up.
I'm sure they do.
Well, I assume both things are true. Like, we'll get cameos from people that we haven't seen in a long time. Like,
I'm sure what's his name's coming back.
Cold back for Crisis. Like,
like I'm sure fucking Wentworth Miller was sitting there waiting for the phone call for Crisis because sure he had a blast during Earth X, and I'm sure for this he's like, just call me now, like.
Man, he said like he left the show, like he didn't want to do the character. So, but I think he likes I bet you he likes Citizen Cold much more because it's closer to who he is.
Yeah,
I just can't wait to see what's his name back as Merlin.
Oh yeah,
Malcolm.
Well, is Mondu Bennett going to be back then as a Deathstroke briefly?
I bet they have him back, not in suit.
Yeah,
Bummer.
Or they do what they did with the hallucination in the 100th episode, where it was Manu Bennett's Deathstroke, but played by somebody else because you just had to have him in the suit.
It was Man B or something like that. But doing a very good job.
And they've been using his kid a bunch, like that one character.
Yeah, I noticed that he's in the pictures for most of the upcoming episodes because I've been saving them. Yeah.
Anyway, I think we can wrap on this.
I do want to address the suit thing real quick, and maybe Flash fans will not like this. Go for like a Captain America thing. Like, I feel like that would.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, just show his neck, like, and have to change to the design.
And like I think actually that's a perfect comparison because the Cap suit from Avengers looks awful. It's really bad, and I think it looks so bad that towards the end of the production or something, there maybe like as they were approaching the Battle of New York, someone was like, "Get that fucking helmet off of him."
Yeah.
And like just having Chris Evans's hair just exposed makes him look so much less goofy because it's like, no, now you look like someone who's wearing a ceremonial outfit and not someone who looks like a fucking G.I. Joe.
And again, it goes up to his neck, and it looks like pajamas. And Cap, now he doesn't have anything up to his neck, really. It sort of stops right there.
But you don't notice it because the helmet plays so well. Also, you see it has clasps and you can tell like it's offering some like it looks like it has a practical purpose. This thing on Barry's head doesn't look like it makes any fucking sense because like you have plating up there but nowhere else.
Well, that's the problem with the suit. Like the way the suit should look, it's like a single piece of fabric.
Yeah,
right.
So and it should be like kind of skin tight.
But the thing about that is like Reverse Flash's suit was designed the same way, but Reverse Flash's suit looks bulkier and looks like an actual like it has some like some texture and some weight and some details to it. This suit doesn't. Yes, that's what it is. Heft. And like this suit is nothing. It's just constricting against fucking Grant's body and just looks strange.
I mean, it's constricting enough that people think they thought he had anorexia and they were body shaming him for it. It's like, no, it's clearly like spandex or something. And fabrics like those can make you look a size smaller or even 2 sizes smaller.
And
than
what's funny is that every time the old maroon suit comes my way, I'm like, that suit was fine. Like now that I look at it, like it's beautiful. Actually, it's kind of pretty. It's a shade
for the time
shade
period,
of red we hadn't seen being used in that character before. And like as soon as they got the white logo on it, I'm like, there it is. It's done. You finished it. Like, don't touch it again.
I don't get the need for a new suit every season.
Yeah.
They need to be able to have it inflate and do other types of clown noises. Yeah.
As he crashes
as Clifford DeVoe, paralyzed man, careens into the harbor. Still one of the funniest images ever. But now I think we can wrap up. All agree?
Yeah.
Good stuff. So merciful God. Well, Flash has been good, so we had a lot to say. So we're on a roll at Movie Dumpster. We have a very special episode coming out Monday. Please do the math on what day that falls on. I won't say what it is because I'm gonna spoil it. It's fucking good shit. But we went all the way with this ridiculous idea, so I hope everyone actually all I'm asking you is you listen to the first few minutes and then you can bail. But recently we just did Star Kid. We put that in the bag. That should be out soon. Which was really like watching The Guyver as done by someone who just wanted to make it for his kids, and it sucks. It's not fun. It's kind of boring. And it's got the annoying kid from Jurassic Park in it. We did Blair Witch 2, and we did In Pursuit with the worst Baldwin, Daniel Baldwin, where he plays a lawyer who is framed for murder by Dean Stockwell from Quantum Leap. Blair Witch 2, I'm just going to quote what Joe said at the beginning of that episode to sum up how we feel about that. And he said, no one should watch this movie. Despite the fact that I've seen that movie several times, it is irredeemable garbage, but it's kind of fascinating because there's a lot of work that went into that movie and it's all for nothing. It's a stinking piece of shit, and it's apparently got like a big fucking ARG game hidden inside of it that was for home video release. It's got a bunch of weird stuff with the director, the marketing team. It has very little to do with the Blair Witch story. It's more about if in our reality the Blair Witch movie had such a profound effect on people that they lost their minds. So it's kind of a weird take on the idea, but it's nowhere near as smart as it sounds.
Didn't they do that with the Human Centipede sequel?
Yes.
God.
Yes. Where someone was inspired by it. Yes. And so that's our recent 3. And I think in lieu of doing Clash of the Titans soon, we are going to do a summer of blockbuster bads. So we're going to do the Clash of the Titans remake. We're going to do a bunch of other big budget stuff that either sucks really bad or bombed horrifically. It's probably a good time to slide in something like Aragon.
John Carter of Mars.
John Carter of Mars.
Oh, that movie's good. Fuck you guys.
Well, it's like the biggest, isn't it? Like now it's like the second biggest bomb of all time. Didn't something pass it recently?
I didn't realize it was that big a bomb.
Yeah, I feel like Valerian passed it.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot going on.
It was either Valerian or what was the Wachowski one?
Oh, Jupiter Ascending.
Yeah, one of those two are the ones that beat it.
But yeah, and Sean and Joe were at the New Jersey Horror Con recently today, and they were handing some shit out. I once again could not teleport, so I couldn't be there. But if you are in Jersey and you see a chance to go see them, knock yourself out. They usually have stuff to give away, and they give it out for free. I think if you do like Dolph Lundgren impressions, you know.
Oh, so just be really sleepy.
Yeah, well, that's only his Punisher.
Oh,
I call 500 kills a good start.
A man who graduated from like MIT or something.
Yeah.
What is he? A nuclear chemist?
Yeah.
And he has like a black belt in various martial arts.
I like that Dolph Lundgren would kill me with his fists and his brain.
Yes.
Yep.
Anyway, that's my stuff. Passing on to whoever wants to go next.
His brain fists.
Yeah. Okay. Last Horror Podcast coming back after a 2-week hiatus because life, it gets in the way. Life. So yeah, go listen to our most recent episode in which me and Erik talk about Tim Burton. It's a really good episode because those movies that we picked, which are Beetlejuice, Big Fish, and Ed Wood, are all like fantastic movies.
Wow, those are drastically different Tim Burton movies too.
Yes, and it's one of those things where you watch them like, oh, Tim Burton knows how to direct films.
Before he made comments about how black people aren't really the aesthetic of his film.
Right. Yes, that's
yeah.
Oof, I did not hear that.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Where's this?
Moving on from that, but yeah, go listen to that episode. It's really good. I rather enjoyed talking about those movies. Yeah, go give that a check. Go check it out.
We're gonna take them down. Do your thing.
Yeah.
Do the thing. Yeah.
Thing, boy. I guess. I mean, don't follow me on social media. We've been over this many times.
Right.
Maybe go follow my cat on Instagram at good_biscuit_boy.
Like the Monster Mass page on Facebook.
Yeah, go like the Monster Mass page on Facebook. An episode is coming. We didn't forget this time. What else? Let's go listen to Less Hour Games. Check out the site. Got cool stuff going on there. We just recently launched a Snapchat. You can find that on the site. I think it's _games. Other than that, nothing.
Dick pics incoming.
Yeah.
I'm Erik Fedorchik. You can find me at Erik_Fedor on Instagram. There's pictures of dogs and cats and food and comics. I'm floating around the Phantom Zone as per usual. Yeah, what else was there? I don't think there's anything else. Oh, and there was somebody else. Arlen. I have 32 pounds of pork chops. You need to melt them down, put them in a blender, and feed them to your mother.
Whoa, that got weird. God damn it.
I have no historical cultural connection to because I have no one in my family like this.
Neither does Arlen.
We've drastically moved away from my actual
all right. So I do several podcasts. 2 of them are on this channel. So on Tuesdays is Smallville Chronicles. This coming week is featuring a star of one of the movie dumpster movies, Ryan Merriman from Luck of the Irish. He's in one of the worst episodes of Smallville ever.
Oh, actually, it's funny you mentioned that real quick. We were watching Star Kid, and one of the characters from Star Kid, one of the prominent ones, played Trickster's mom, Prank, last season on Flash.
Oh, well, then she was in the original Flash show, too.
Yes. So yeah, there's that. I thought it was a really interesting connection between both shows because it was something I never would have thought we'd stumble upon. It was like, wow, someone was on Flash and they played that character.
In the second episode is the new cicada that we have for coming out this week.
Wow.
It's her first of 3 episodes.
They are shameless.
Except for the two main stars of Smallville are like the only people that haven't been in the show in Flasher era.
They're just too successful to get to
Well, Tom Welling was in season 3 of Lucifer.
Yeah.
The only one that really doesn't do anything is what's his name? Except he was in Guardians too. Rosenbaum. Yeah,
right.
He has like one line.
What about Kristen Kriuk though? She's busy.
She's on a CW show.
Oh God, really?
Her third CW show. She did Smallville, then a shitty Beauty and the Beast, and now she's in a procedural where she's a cop.
Was she also not Chun-Li in Legend of Chun-Li?
She was Chun-Li in the movie where the guy playing Cicada was what was he? Charlie
Nash.
Yeah.
Charlie Nash. And Robin Shou plays a Street Fighter character, having been the only man to play Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat characters on screen.
Oh,
wow. God. He was also in Beverly Hills Ninja, one of my favorite terrible movies. With Chris Farley. Chris Rock is like a side character in that movie.
Oh Christ.
Why?
It's amazing. On Thursdays is And Now Comics, which is our comic show. The last episode is titled 1-Star Review for No Willem Dafoe Dick.
I never want to know the context of that.
Yes. You only have to listen to about the first 15 minutes to get the context.
So you guys are talking about Antichrist.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Chaos, Ray.
And then he got jerked off till he bled.
And I have one last podcast to plug, which is part of the Los Haro network, and that is Legion of Tunes. My pick was this week, so we watched the 2002 MTV cartoon Undergrads.
Oh wow!
Holy shit!
Deep dive there. Jesus!
You're gonna watch The Head next?
Yes.
Oh, what was the other MTV one that we were talking about? Clone High.
Oh, well, Clone High was Lord Miller, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. That was back when MTV put on good cartoons. The Max is older. I think the Max is from the 90s.
Yeah, that was...
Because it was like the Max, Aeon Flux, and they had a bunch of like those shows on.
Aeon Flux was an offshoot of Liquid Television.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else was like that. Because the Max was around the same time that they had a Savage Dragon cartoon.
That was on USA, though.
Yes, it was a different network, but I mean, it's that same time period.
Time has not been kind to that property.
Learned.
I think he had 3 children recently.
No, I think that's actually the Savage Dragon's son who had 3 children.
Yes, Savage.
Dragon.
Yes, he impregnated 3 women during one awesome foursome.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Bye, everybody.
Wow, it says a lot when Eric's the one who's like, yeah, fuck this.
God.
Dark skin is shaped like their teeth, and that skin is
oh, come on. It had to be you. Fucking author of All My Pain.
James.
All right, bye, everybody.
Bye.
Adios.
All my sources come from all my sources are YouTube and 4chan.
I can't drink all these milkshakes. I'm lactose intolerant.